So your brother played with Julius Peppers?
Sure did.
Yeah.
Yep.
In
Saw
high
that
school?
on TV the other day.
Yeah. This is guy.
Like they played football together? Or?
Basketball. Yeah. They became #1 in the country when the 2 football players joined the team. Julius Peppers and Ronald Curry.
Oh, okay.
They weren't
Curry, point guard?
Yep. He was the #1 quarterback in the country coming out, and the #1 point guard. And he was ranked in the same state over Michael Vick. Those are the 2 quarterbacks in that area. I mean, in high school, Ronald was definitely better, but
North Carolina.
they were good. They were the best team. They had some internal problems, so they ended up losing to Penn State in the second round of the tournament. But they were talented. All right, let's go.
All right, Jeff. How have you felt about this team? How they taken on training camp and prepared going into start?
Yeah, well, I really like my team. Our guys have worked really, really hard. We've been together since late June. We have some new faces, but we're fortunate to have some returning guys, and they've had unbelievable attitudes. Have worked really hard. The camaraderie is awesome. It's great getting some pieces back. So getting Papa back, he's actually today is the second day in a row where he's done everything. He's been fully cleared, all 5-on-5, scrimmaging. So that's been really good to get him back in the fold. It'll be great when we're able to get Amsel back, from his injury. But the guys have worked hard. Like I said, it's been a joy to be around them every day.
So when you said the release said 6 weeks was kind of the timeline for him to come back, when those 6 weeks are over, is he going to be able to go right into the season, or is he going to need some time?
Well, I mean, he'll be able to play. I mean, the one thing with the hand is that he can do everything. He can run. He can continue to do a lot of stuff. It is a shooting hand, so he's not able to do that. But as far as running and the conditioning part, he's able to do everything he can with that. It's just the physicality, the playing. They say 6 weeks. We're hoping it's not. We're hoping it's a little bit, it heals a little bit quicker than that. We'll get an update every week. I think it's every Thursday when he goes back to the doctor and to see how it's healing. And so hopefully he's a fast healer.
Jeff, when you get early into practices, I'm sure you have an idea how this team is going to play, but how much is it feeling like, okay, see where our strengths are? Like, how do you try to figure out what you guys are going to be in a particular year?
Well, you're always, to me, at least for me, you have an idea, but when you get out there and you see, so you have an idea in June when we all come together. But now, as we're in October, you're hoping the guys are better. And so maybe that changes what you're going to do a little bit. I think our guys individually have gotten better since the summer. And so, for us, you're always tweaking and always trying to figure out, how can we get better? What are our strengths? What are the things that we have to work on? Again, I think we, have a team that have a group of guys where we have a chance to be a good team. But we have to show up every day with the right mindset and understand the importance and the value of each day and go out and try to get better individually and collectively each day. And fortunately, we've done that.
What's different about Jalen this year?
More confident, obviously maturity. He's played in big games. He's played very well in big games. There's more, I would say, ownership from him. I think he understands his status on the team. I shouldn't say he understands it, but he's more comfortable, with his status on our team and the importance. And I thought he was very comfortable with it last year, especially as we got into, late February and early March. But I would say those things. I just think usually when you've experienced college basketball, you're normally a little bit more comfortable going into your next year.
When seeing him throughout the offseason, saw him like rooting on his basketball tournament team, and he just seemed very much embracing, I guess, everything about Pitt. You guys going to see Bub, get drafted. Have you seen him, on top of being more confident, step up as far as a vocal guy to like lead other guys? I mean, he's going to be a sophomore, still one of the younger guys on the team, but it seems like he's trying to take more of a leadership role.
Yeah, I definitely think he is. And he's finding his voice as a leader. That's something that he didn't necessarily have to do last year because of Blake. But now, with what we lost, I think he understands. And that's what I meant when I was saying, understanding his role, understanding his importance, all of those things on this basketball team and being more comfortable speaking. And, he knows what we want as a coaching staff, what I want. I think he also knows what's needed to be a good team. And so certainly finding his voice as a leader and being more confident to use his voice.
Leadership role being spread out between Guillermo, Jorge, and Ishmael, and Jalen?
Yeah, I think it's not just Jalen. I think we have one of the things that I'm really proud of is that we have a group of guys that they're grateful and appreciative to be here. And so when you talk about like all of our guys, like they go to the volleyball games, they go to the football games, they're at the soccer games, they really love Pitt. And that's one of the cool things about the student athletes here. Like there's a love and support that they have for each other and a respect that they have for each other and each other's teams, individual teams and programs. But as far as the leadership, Jalen and Ish are doing a heck of a job with that. Guillermo is chiming in. We have some new guys that are older, like Damian Dunn has a lot of experience in college basketball. He's finding his voice and how to utilize it with this group because this group is new. But that's something that we're imploring him to do because he's seen a lot and he's been a part of really good programs. And so to find and utilize his voice. So we have guys on this team that have the ability to do that, and they're trying to figure out how to be most comfortable in doing that.
2 years ago, it was such a big step forward for you guys as far as culture. You talked a lot about that, the culture you'd established. And I don't know if you were uncertain about how it would carry over from 2 years ago to last year, but are you even, seeing that it did transfer from those two seasons? Are you even more confident this year that like it really has been established, it'll carry on?
I'm hopeful, but it's so different now. I mean, there's so many different variables that can go into a season. I mean, everything looks great now because I haven't put 5 guys out there to start a game. And so the 6th or 7th guy, they're not upset yet because everyone feels hopeful and feels like they have a chance. We have right now, with Amsol out, we have 11 guys that are able to practice to go 5-on-5, scholarship guys. So everyone's getting a lot of playing time. When we play someone, there may be some guys that don't play or don't play a lot of minutes. To me, that's when you're tested. That's when you see, how together are you really? When you get beat. And I would love to go undefeated, but history tells us that that doesn't happen in college basketball anymore. The last time it was 76, where a team finished that way. And so, when you go through that, that's the thing about the last 2 seasons. Again, it was the same feeling that I have right now. But when you got into it, that's when you started to really see how together we are. I think the culture is really good. I'm proud of it. But we'll continue to see how strong it truly is when we hit adversity. I think we're strong enough where we can deal with it and go through it. I'm hopeful that we are, but we'll see.
How has Jorge looked?
He's looked really good. I mean, he's talented. Being able to, he's getting his legs back under him. As far as getting in game condition, playing condition, instead of just drill work and skill work. But he's talented and he's done a nice job for us.
You guys added Cam Core in this offseason. The guy that's experienced, knows this conference, and knows how to score in the post. How much of a difference can that make for your team? You guys have had Fetty, the twins, John, like all these different guys that have kind of rotated in, but not become a dominant force in the middle. Can he be that guy?
Well, in a different way. He's not as comfortable scoring in the post. You know, most of his points at Florida State came off of drop-offs, rim runs, and things like that. He's becoming more comfortable. We think he has the capability to do it. It's different. Cam I don't think has ever played more than 18 or 19 minutes a game. You know, we want him to be able to play more. How are you going to be able to do that? There's a different type of conditioning that goes into doing that. The way they played at Florida State, and it's a program that I have so much respect for. Number one, he's been well coached, like really, really well coached down there. But their style was different. They rotated 10, 11 guys. And so with that and with not playing, you know, more than 20 minutes a game or never playing 20 minutes a game, you know, averaging for a season, foul trouble. You know, he at times could foul a lot there because you were constantly being rotated in and out. And so it's just all of those things. Now, he's talented. He's really talented. You know, we thought he was good when we coached against him for 2 years. You know, I think he's better after having a chance to work with him. He's an unbelievable kid. He works his butt off, and he's done that since he's been here this summer. And he's a great teammate. And so he certainly brings some things to the table that we have not had. And we're excited about that. And we're excited about helping him to continue to develop those things where hopefully he can become dominant. He's not that yet, but we're hopeful that he can become a really, really good player.
Does having Cam and Papa and even Amdi in the front court now do something different for Guillermo, where he maybe can play in a different spot?
Yeah, it does. It's something that we've looked at. You know, again, those three guys that you mentioned, Cam, Papa, and Amdi, I mean, those guys are talented. You know, two of them are freshmen. You know, Papa's a freshman as far as playing is concerned, and he's gotten a lot better from when we saw him last, you know, before he got hurt last September. He looks so much more comfortable out there. And with each day, he's getting mentally stronger. The final hurdle with that injury is the mental. And every day, like today, he was unbelievably competitive. And that's his nature. That's who he is. But it was great to see that come out because then he's not thinking about his knee. He's not worried about how he lands. He's not worried about that. So that was really cool to see. And Amdi, you know, he's as athletic as anyone as we have, you know, on our team. He plays really, really hard, and he's talented. And so that does help G, and we can move him around a little bit and look at some different lineups out there.
Jeff, you mentioned Damien finding his voice. What do you think early on so far, how has he impacted, and how will he impact this team?
Yeah, number one, he's good. He's a really good older player. He has a level of physicality that we have not had in a couple of years, since Jamarius, at the guard position. As good as Bub was, and Bub was really, really good, there was a level of physicality as a freshman, as a young kid that you just don't have. Dame is in his 5th year of college, maybe his 6th year. I think he maybe redshirted 1 year at Temple. But he's an older guy, and he's a big, strong, physical guard. Obviously playing for Aaron McKee at Temple, there's a toughness that's required, you know, to do that. And then going to Houston, there's a toughness and a level of physicality. So he brings all of those experiences to us. He can score the basketball. He can handle it. He can be, I think, a really good decision maker. We're going to need him to rebound for us. And I think especially his last year of college basketball playing at Houston, I think it helped him so much defensively, especially the level of physicality that he can play with.
Because of the new transfer rules, a new word has emerged, re-recruit. How much have you had to re-recruiting that you had to do of your players, your returning players?
Yeah, all of them. Yeah. I mean, all of them. That's the nature of what we do now. You can't take it for granted that a guy's just going to come back. You know, you're hopeful. You know, you have a good relationship with them. They feel like they want to be back. You know, these kids now, they have more options. I mean, to me, that's the difference. You're a free agent every year. And so you can sort of test the waters, and not just as far as maybe a style, or maybe you're looking at somewhere to play more, or some kids a higher level. You know, there's a monetary thing that's involved with it too. And so Yeah, you have to recruit your guys all year.
They have agents, but you did just as the players, right?
Some of them have agents, not all of them. A lot of them do. I mean, we have to deal with the agents. Yeah, we have to. I mean, but my relationship is with the player. That's who I'm going to coach. We deal with the agents, and we have really good relationships with the agents. And they're very, very important, and the majority of them are really, really good. But my relationship is with the players.
Over the summer, well, the last time we spoke with you, you mentioned how you were surprised when you saw why am I blank? Blake coming back to help your guys, and he told you about how, hey, Justin did that for us. I wanted to do that for them. Is Jalen the person who you think it can kind of be Blake from last season, or is that still something that you think is being worked out, like being like the guy that everyone centers around as the primary leader?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever coach anyone like Blake again as far as that leadership. Like Blake has such a unique spirit. And it's not that Jalen doesn't or Ish doesn't or anyone else, but he was such a unique guy. And I don't know if I've met anyone or been around anyone or coached anyone that was more grateful, excuse me, of everything at the University of Pittsburgh and the city of Pittsburgh. And it showed every day. Like he never walked in here with a funky attitude, a bad attitude, or in a bad mood. Or if he did, if he had it, we didn't see it. Every day it was upbeat. Every day, and as a coach, even if I'm in a funky mood or not feeling great or whatever, every time I saw him, he lifted my spirits. These guys do. Now I've experienced that with this group every day. I get that from them. But as far as an individual player, I just think that's unfair. Like, I want Jalen to be Jalen. I don't want him trying to be Blake. I want Ish to be Ish. And one of the cool things last year about Blake was him finding his voice. Because the year before, it was the majority Jamarius. Now, Nelly and Grit or whatever, but the voice and the guy that they went to was Jamarius. And so it was really cool to see Blake do it. And I'm looking forward to see Jalen and Ish find their voice this year and do it in their own unique way.
Sometimes when you have some success, that means that your assistant coaches are good looking at other things, offered other things, but you've been able to keep, especially, Jason, Tim, and Milan around. Why do you think you've been able to do that?
Well, I think, number one, the first 4 years, I don't know if anyone wanted us, any of us. But the past couple of years, we have been able to win and do some things. Look, I think all three of those guys, number one, they have been head coaches before. T.O. at Fairfield, Milan at Mount St. Mary's, and at Holy Cross, and my brother at Appalachian State. I think they all aspired to be head coaches again. But I just don't think the right one has presented itself. For them. I think if the right opportunity came and it fit them and their family and what they were looking for, I do think it's something that they would pursue, and I would do everything I can to help them, to achieve that. But they have been unbelievable for me, for our program, and I think it says something about our program and their loyalty that they want to be here. A lot of times you have assistants, man, like you're chasing something and you're not grateful for where you are because you're looking at the next thing. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I get that. I was an assistant once or twice myself. And so I understand that. But I think the ones that are really good, they're locked in and focused on what they're doing, where they are. And I think they understand if they can help the place where they are be successful, then it gives them more of an opportunity to become successful individually.
Last season, there was a lot of talk about the non-conference schedule, and everybody's in how important it is for getting into the tournament. Are you comfortable with yours?
Yeah. First of all, I was comfortable with it last year. We didn't know that, two of the teams that we played in non-conference, would end up having the seasons that they had with West Virginia and with Missouri. I thought that hurt us. And certainly losing, to Missouri at home, so that hurt us. But I felt comfortable with it last year. I feel very comfortable with it this year. hopefully, number one, we take care of our end of the bargain and we control what we can control, which is our games and when we play them. And then after we play them, I hope they win. I hope they have really good seasons because that helps us. Just like the ACC, I want every team that we play in the ACC, I want to beat them. But every other game they play, I want them to win, especially in the non-conference, because I think that helps us. So I feel good about our schedule. I think it's very challenging. We're excited about it, and we'll be ready for it.
Jeff, I'm pretty sure it was Nike was telling us during the basketball tournament, wait till you guys see Brandon, was kind of his note. What have you seen from Brandon? How is he kind of coming on to college basketball here?
Yeah, Biba is, first of all, he's been basically part of our program for the last 2 years. Unbelievable kid, talented, competes his butt off, unbelievably competitive. He's a really cool kid from the standpoint, very smart, unbelievably low maintenance. You get him on the court, and there's this different personality. Off the court, he's quiet, kind of to himself, doesn't really say much. You get him in between those lines, then he transforms into this just this intense competitive guy. Plays hard, he has a fast twitch, he's athletic, and he can score. He's learning how to facilitate even more, learning how to pick his spots. One of the things that I loved from the first time he got here and we started doing stuff, I don't know if he did it when they played pickup, but when we started doing stuff 5-on-5, no one told him, I know a coach didn't tell him this, but the very first thing, every day he tried to guard Jalen. Every day he would pick Jalen up full court. Anything 5-on-5, if his team scored, it was a dead ball, he would pick him up full court or pick Ish up, whoever he was guarding. That's different. That's unique for a freshman to kind of want that right away. I think, number one, it shows the respect that he has for Jalen and Ish and understands how much those guys can help him. But the competitor in him wanted to test himself against, two guys that are pretty good guards in this league and in college basketball. And so we're excited about his development. We're excited to be a part of this journey with him. I think he has a chance to become a really, really good player.
There's one big coaching change at Louisville, but then you got a couple other guys going into their second years as coaches in ACC schools. Do you see the league getting any deeper or any stronger?
Yeah, well, it's deeper because certainly the two teams that we added with three teams, with Cal, Stanford, and SMU, obviously, really historic programs as far as Stanford. The past few years they've struggled, but obviously in the late 90s and early 2000s they were really, really good. And a few years ago when Johnny Dawkins was there, they were a Sweet 16 team. Cal, with Mark Madsen, they had a kid that was a top 25 pick this year, and Stanford has one of the better big guys in our league now, one of the better big guys in college basketball, Andy Enfield at SMU. So when you add those three, obviously the change at Louisville, everyone's excited about Pat Kelsey. We know his background, what he did at Charleston and how much they won. And, when he was an assistant at Wake for Coach Prosser and the instrumental part that he had in their success. And that's a brand. Louisville's one of the brands in college basketball. And so there's an excitement level back there. He was able to go into the portal and get some really good guys. And so I anticipate them being really good. I don't really know much about their team, but I know he's a really good coach, and I know they have a very powerful brand in college basketball that attracts really good players. And I'm pretty sure they have a good NIL thing too there now. And so I anticipate the league being really good, being really deep, like it has been. Hopefully nationally we'll get, the attention that I think we deserve. But like I mentioned earlier, hopefully we all do really, really well in the non-conference, and I think that helps all of us.
What improvements have you seen from Zach Austin this offseason?
I think becoming more consistent. That was one of the big challenges we had with him at the end of last season. I thought at times he showed that he can be a really good player at this level. It's just, can you be consistently good? And that's hard. It's hard to do that. It requires a level of discipline, a level of dedication, and you got to show up every day. He's taken steps to do that all summer, and certainly since we've started practice since September 23rd. He shot the basketball better. He's done a little bit more off the bounce, using his shot to 1-2 dribble pull-ups, understanding when to drive. He's been a little bit more consistent defensively so far. But he's got a ways to go to continue to be who we want him to be and who he wants to be. But he's certainly on the right track to do that.
You have at least one West Coast trip this season? Or not?
No.
No.
We go to Texas.
But no West Coast, huh? How'd you like that?
I have no idea. Yeah, we'll go both next year. That's the way you go. When you go out there, you play both of them.
Does
Yeah.
that change, will that change for teams, not just your team, but who travel, recruit team?
Yeah, it'll be a big difference. Going to the West Coast is very different. I mean, I talked to, a coach in the ACC, a buddy of mine who coaches, and he was telling me they have that trip. So they'll leave Monday, they play Wednesday, Saturday, they won't get back till Sunday. So you're going a whole week. So it's certainly different, but got to adapt.
What are you guys able to do right now? Like, what's the schedule look like?
Practice. So right now we're in the process. We go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're usually off Thursday. Go Friday, Saturday, off Sunday. We're going 1 to 3, give or take a few minutes here or there. Saturday we'll go at 11. I tried this time of year. I try to give our guys off on Sundays. I want them to have one day where they don't have class, where they can be off, where they can just kind of relax mentally and physically, get away from it. And that's pretty much what we have. It'll be great for us when we have the exhibition on the 22nd, to play against someone else. Like everyone, these guys are tired of playing against each other. They've been doing it since late June, early July. And so just, having the motivation every day, you're seeing the same bodies. We know the plays, the defense. So that'll be great when we're able to do that. We'll have a scrimmage after that, and then get ready for November.
What do you know about Point Park? I only ask because I'm a graduate.
Yeah, I don't know anything about them yet. I will know by the time we get to the 22nd. My staff knows. They've already started looking at them and, doing that stuff, but I don't know much about them right now.
You a mole, Jerry?
Yeah.
They were really good last year, Jerry. How did you not know that? They went
I
deep.
don't follow them, actually.
Come on, man. Come on.
I know the scores, that's all.
I'm assuming you anticipate Brandon and Omdi playing enough that you won't be redshirting them this season.
We haven't made any decisions. Right now, that's not the plan, but we haven't made any decisions with any of that stuff yet. All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Where'd you live at, Jerry?
I was a commuter.
The dorms weren't that great back then.
They're still not. Someone goes there.
Nothing improves, like.
They got some problems.
They do.
Yeah, you didn't follow the news. It's reported.
All this NIL money you're putting into basketball.
Oh, I did.